If you've got $10,000, $50,000, or $100,000 sitting in your bank account right now, you're in a position most Australians only dream about. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The money sitting in your everyday account today is losing value while you sleep. Inflation is eating it. Lifestyle creep is draining it. And the longer you wait to make a decision, the more expensive that decision becomes. So in the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly what to do with $10,000, $50,000, and $100,000 in Australia right now, based on where the economy actually sits in 2026. Before we get into the numbers, let's get one thing straight. The RBA just lifted the cash rate to 4.35% in May, the third hike of the year, and Governor Michelle Bullock has warned that more tightening may still be on the table. Inflation is still biting, and the property market is in what economists are calling a two-speed slowdown. That means the rules have changed. Cash finally pays you something again. Shares are still climbing, but with more volatility, and property is no longer the guaranteed escalator your parents talked about. Every dollar you have needs a job, and the job depends on how much you've got and how long you can leave it alone. Let's start with $10,000. The first thing $10,000 needs to do is protect you. Split this money into three buckets. The first bucket is your emergency fund. If you don't already have 3 months of essential expenses sitting in a high-interest savings account, that's where the first chunk goes. Right now, accounts from ING, UBank, Macquarie, and a few smaller players are paying up to around 5.5% on balances, up to a certain cap as long as the monthly conditions are met. The second bucket is high-interest debt. If there's a credit card balance, a buy now, pay later overhang, or a personal loan charging 18% or more, paying that off is the single best guaranteed return available anywhere. The third bucket, only if the first two are sorted, is your first proper investment. With what's left of the $10,000, the simplest and most powerful move is a low-cost diversified ETF. Open a brokerage account, set up an automatic monthly investment, and stop checking it. The hardest part of investing $10,000 isn't picking the asset, it's leaving it alone long enough to compound. Now to $50,000. At $50,000, you're no longer just protecting yourself. You're building real momentum. But this is also where most Australians make their biggest mistake. They either freeze and leave it in a savings account for years, or they go the opposite way and dump it all into one hot stock or one crypto coin a mate told them about. Here's a smarter approach. Ask one honest question. What is this money actually for, and when is it needed? If it's needed inside 3 years for a house deposit, a wedding, or a business, the share market is too risky. Term deposits and high-interest savings accounts, paying around 5 to 5.5%, are doing the heavy lifting for short-term goals right now. And with the RBA still in hiking mode, locking in a 12-month term deposit at today's elevated rates is a serious move worth considering, because once the cycle turns and cuts begin, these rates will disappear quickly. If the money isn't needed for at least 5 to 7 years, this is where the magic of dollar cost averaging into the market kicks in. Take that $50,000 and split it. Around $30,000 to $40,000 into a diversified ETF portfolio, drip-fed over the next 6 to 12 months so you're not buying everything at the top. The rest into a high-interest account as a buffer. On a decent income, this is also the time to seriously look at salary sacrificing into super. Concessional contributions are taxed at just 15% inside super, compared to up to 47% if it stays in your pay packet. And with a mortgage, every dollar parked in an offset account is effectively earning the home loan rate, tax-free, with variable rates now sitting around 6.5 to 7.5% after the May hike. That's a guaranteed return no share market can promise. Now to the big one, $100,000. At this level, every percentage point of return matters, and the structure you choose, whether it's inside super, outside super, in your name, or in a trust, can shift your end result by tens of thousands of dollars over the long run. Start by mapping the money against 3 timeframes: short term, the next 2 years, medium term, 3 to 7 years, and long term, anything beyond that. For the short term slice, keep around $15,000 to $20,000 in cash, in a high-interest savings account or a short-term deposit. This is the emergency fund and the opportunity fund. For the medium term, $30,000 to $40,000 into a mix of ETFs and possibly some bonds or a conservative managed fund. This gives growth without exposing every dollar to a market crash right before the money is needed. For the long-term slice, the remaining $40,000 to $50,000 should be working as hard as possible. This is where global share ETFs, Australian share ETFs, and topping up super really shine. KPMG is still forecasting Australian property prices to keep rising through 2026, but at a slower pace of around 4.5% as affordability constraints and higher rates bite. So if property is part of the plan, use this money for a deposit and stamp duty rather than tying up the full amount. Lenders' mortgage insurance is also worth understanding. Buying with less than a 20% deposit means paying LMI, which can add tens of thousands to the loan. On a $700,000 property, LMI on a 10% deposit can exceed $20,000, all added to the mortgage and accruing interest for decades. Saving the extra deposit or using a guarantor often saves far more than waiting feels like it costs. Debt recycling is another strategy worth understanding at this level. It works by using equity in your home to invest in income-producing assets like shares or ETFs, which turns previously non-deductible mortgage interest into tax-deductible investment interest. Pair this with maximum concessional super contributions of $30,000 per year, and the tax savings alone can add tens of thousands to your net worth over a decade. Asset allocation matters more than asset selection. Research from Vanguard consistently shows that the mix between shares, bonds, property, and cash explains roughly 90% of long-term portfolio returns. A 70-30 split between growth and defensive assets suits most Australians under 50, while those closer to retirement typically shift toward a 50-50 balance. Rebalancing once a year keeps the portfolio aligned with your risk tolerance and forces you to sell high and buy low automatically. Fees erode wealth more than almost anything else. A 1% difference in fees on a $100,000 portfolio compounds to over $70,000 lost across 25 years. This is why low-cost index ETFs charging 0.07% to 0.20% consistently outperform actively managed funds charging 1% or more. The same logic applies to super. Switching from a high-fee retail fund to a low-fee industry or indexed option can add six figures to your retirement balance without changing anything else. One quick check anyone can do today is log into your super account and look at the investment option you're in. Most Australians sit in the default balanced option, which often holds 30% in defensive assets even for people in their 20s and 30s. For a younger investor with decades ahead, switching to a high growth or index shares option can lift long-term returns by 1 to 2% per year, which translates into hundreds of thousands at retirement. Whether the balance is $10,000, $50,000, or $100,000, the system you build around the money matters more than the starting amount. The Australians who build real wealth on $10,000, $50,000, or $100,000 aren't the ones chasing the next hot tip. They're the ones who automate their savings, keep their fees low, use the tax system the way it was designed, and stay invested through every market cycle. If this helped reshape the way you see your money, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so the next video lands in your feed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.